Why have global markets reacted negatively to Donald Trump's win of the U.S. presidential race? Did opinion polls make the Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton's camp complacent? Has the Make America Great Again slogan got Donald Trump into the White House? And what does Donald Trump's presidency mean to Africa and South Africa in particular? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. News that Republican candidate and real estate mogul Donald Trump has won the United States presidential elections is set to dominate the headlines for quite a while. Against all expectations, Trump won well over the required 270 Electoral College votes and secured several swing states, including Florida, North Carolina, and Ohio in the process. Global markets reacted negatively to the news, with the US dollar sinking and stocks plummeting as investors fled risky assets. Opinion polls have come under the spotlight following predictions that the Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton was set for a landslide victory. Meanwhile, President Jacob Zuma has congratulated Donald Trump for winning the U.S. elections. He says South Africa will work closely with the new administration in promoting peace and security, particularly in Africa. But are the Republicans likely to make Africa a priority? We are live, and therefore you can call us and air your views. The numbers to dial 089-110-4210. And our Twitter handle at QuestionTime24. But before we continue with the discussion, let's hear what U.S. President-elect had to say.
Now it's time for America to bind the wounds of division. Have to get together. To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people. It's time. I pledge to every citizen of our land that I will be president for all Americans, and this is so important to me.
Well, that's Donald Trump. My guest, Peter Draper, is the managing director at Tutwa Consulting Group, and On Ngomo is from Inkunzi Wealth Group. We welcome them both into studio. We'll be taking your calls. Let's hear what you have to say. Gentlemen, welcome. Should we really be bothering who is America's president, Owen?
Yeah, it is very important. I'll start off with the confession that I was in this very studio and I said Donald Trump will not be president of America.
Okay.
Boy, how wrong was I? It's very important in my view for us to care what happens in America and who's leading America. Their policies obviously have a global impact. If America is struggling, the rest of the world is going to struggle. If the American economy is doing well, then we get to benefit from that growth in America, especially if the global growth leads to commodities being demanded out of us as a country that produces commodities, for example. And so it is very important to see what Mr. Trump has got for us in the first 5 years in power. One certainly hopes that the pronunciations which he made during his campaign trail, which some of them tended to be a bit xenophobic, are not going to work against us as an emerging country that I believe he's got problems with us going to America.
Well, I'm going to ask my colleagues there to just get us some of his tweets. He has spoken about South Africa, and I mean, like him or hate him, well, sometime July last year, says Obama is in Africa pledging $1 billion to help them. How about that money to help America? Trump for, that was Silver Sharon's tweet, but he retweeted that. And then he himself says, every penny of the $7 billion going to Africa, as per Obama, will be stolen. Corruption is rampant. What do you make of that?
I think the way to think about Donald Trump is that he's all about walls. Whether it's building a wall with Mexico or preventing immigration of Muslims into the United States, or imposing trade barriers against China, Mexico, Canada, South Korea, Germany, China. These are all on his list of targets. So that's what candidate Trump has been saying, and I think if he enacts a lot of those policies, then the world really is in deep trouble, and we really don't have time to unpack the meaning of that. The question is, what is President Trump going to do? And one should distinguish between the candidate and the president, because politicians will say anything to get elected, but once they come into office, there's lots of structural constraints. So right now we're uncertain, and I think this is why the markets, particularly in Asia, reacted quite negatively to his election. It's fear of the unknown. We don't know what to expect from a Trump presidency.
But did Putin put him in?
I don't know. I don't know. I think some Americans who really think that a man who can be so verbally abusive against women, in some instances physically abusive to women, a man that can be so xenophobic, a man that can be so,
Islamophobic.
Jeez, the list goes on and on and on. But some people saw it fit that they vote him into the system. And again, I think it's a lesson for the world, especially after Brexit. The poll runners say that Britain was never going to leave the EU, but we got a very big surprise. And then I promise you, no one would have paid $1 million to say that Donald Trump is going to be the president of America. They would have said not a chance. Hillary Clinton is likely going to win, and not on a small margin, by the way. So in my view, the American people have voted, and they're special breed. They've made that decision. They always want to shock us with history, They shocked us when they voted Barack Obama in, when people were saying, geez, do you think it's time for a black man to lead America? No, and then we thought, here's a time for America to have a woman president. But that all changed. They had a big surprise for us instead.
Whoa. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll continue this discussion. Please do give us a call. We would like to hear, what are your thoughts about this whole thing? Who had you wished for? 089-1104-210. We shall return.
Macro is going big on festive season savings by bringing you cooking deals like the Brabrantia 7-piece stainless steel cookware set, only 1199, save 300 Rand. We're mixing things up with a Russell Hobbs jug blender for only 599, save 300 Rand. And save 500 Rand on the Russell Hobbs Legacy Breakfast Pack, now only 999. Share in these and other big festive savings for home, for business, for life, only at Macro, big on life.
4x4 by land, 4x4 by sea, 4x4 by air, cause the lot to fly free. The former country, how it all started out, for the brave and every Boy Scout. 4x4, doing it yourself cause you want it done right. 4x4.
Upgrade from the Jeep Renegade 1.4 Limited Auto to the all-wheel drive for free. For more offers on the Jeep range, visit jeep.co.za or your Jeep dealer today.
4x forever.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time, and today we're talking Donald Trump. My guest, Peter Draper, he's a senior research fellow at South Africa Institute of International Affairs, and Owen Gomez from Ingunzi Investment. Sipo, you are in East London.
Yes, Pudi. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Look, let's, without congratulating, but congratulations are in order for Donald Trump. But for us is to acknowledge that he's been an astute business person. He's been now proved that he's an astute politician, because he understood the majority of voters in America as to what is the study we want. The base is the white population. that he consolidated first. He did not care about anybody else but white majority. And the white majority came through to him. It's not something new. If you go to Brexit, if you go to Italy, if you go to Germany, there's a phenomenon of nationalism that is in the absence around the world. And Donald Trump and Americans are proving once again that they will always determine the direction of the world. The current world order is coming to an end. The new world order without America is coming through. So let's congratulate him. But what is it? I would want the analyst to tell us now.
Yes.
You remember during 2007 when Mbeki was ousted,
yes,
there were media personalities and analysts who were paid through money that was through Tokyo. There were those guys who were given shares, and they were all over the media. And the fact that the media has missed these elections, is it not proving that Donald Trump was true to say the media is captured?
Okay.
Because they did not go into analyzing and understanding all what his utterances, where they were directed, who was he calling up to vote to support him to take over America.
Okay. Thanks very much, Sipho. Let me start.
The media is captured.
Yep.
Let's find out from Tuli Madonsela, shouldn't we? It's a difficult one indeed, because in my view, the media definitely did seem to be Hillary Clinton centric.
Yeah.
And I think it's very simple for the media to have done that because of the pronunciations of Donald Trump himself. They were, if I may quote some of the media guys, they were unpresidential. The manner in which he conducted himself, his debates, with Hillary Clinton, and he didn't seem to have a consistent economic game plan. And even now, looking through some of the things he wants to do, he says he wants to go on this big expansionary program where he's going to invest in infrastructure in America, build roads, build bridges, etc. But he's not specifying where that money is going to come from. And he's talking about $300 billion that he's going to need to look for and to implement all his programs that he has. But where is he going to get that money? He's not saying. And America is already deep in debt, with the biggest debt in the world for a sovereign state. And they've been lifting their debt ceiling all along. And for him to do this, he probably has to be more aggressive on pushing up the debt ceiling in America. So now the media looks at all of these things that Donald is promising and saying, he's not being practical. He just wants to get into the White House. And then they bank on Hillary Clinton. And unfortunately, it wasn't to be.
Francois, you are in PE.
Yes, good afternoon, my friend. How are you doing, Paul?
Doing very well. Thanks for the call, Francois.
My pleasure, Paul.
Yes.
Paul, mine is just a quick one.
Okay.
And thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Paul, two things we should learn from the Americans and their leaders.
Yeah.
Firstly, they elected a powerful, wealthy man, president this time around. And I believe that he's not going to actually drain the coffers of the country empty. Secondly, their leaders are people who are there for the country and for the nation. And thumbs up for America. And also, my comment to Mr. Nkomo there for apologizing that he was a little bit skeptical. And bless you.
Okay, Francois, thank you very much. Now let's talk about these relations with Russia. Well, they were there even before the man was elected. It is already making headlines, news headlines, that Putin has already congratulated Donald Trump. What is in store for America and perhaps the world? These are two powerful nations.
Again, it's unpredictable. So, in my view, the Russians did interfere in this election. It's unprecedented, actually, the level of interference that's been visited out on this US presidential election. And that was for a very clear reason, because Putin and his inner circle don't trust Hillary Clinton. She led the initial reset with bilateral relations between the US and Russia, and that failed dismally. And a lot of what we've seen in Ukraine, for instance, and Syria was a reaction to that. So with Donald Trump, they saw an opportunity to have a new person in the White House, to reset the game, and to have more room for maneuver. So how that's going to play out, we don't know, because we really don't know what Donald Trump thinks of President Putin, of foreign policy. A lot of his speeches recently were quite scripted. His initial speeches weren't so. So again, what exactly would President Trump do as opposed to candidate Trump? I think it's uncertain.
Dougie, you are in the Val.
Yes, how are you guys?
We are well. Thanks for the call, Dougie.
Well, that's good. You know, number one, I want to say, hey, I congratulate Donald Trump.
Okay.
But besides that, he's a businessman. He's not actually a politician. Yes. But let's see what he does as a politician. People are making assertions and assumptions about this guy. And this guy tells it like it is. He hasn't got any pros or any stories, or he doesn't dance around the bush. He just says it like it is. And I'm telling you, he's going to make America great again. Because he is honest, he's trustworthy, he is righteous, he's a righteous man, and God blesses the righteous. And anything that you go against when it goes against God and the righteous, you're going to come up against a wall.
Dougie,
and that was proof.
Dougie,
yes.
How is Donald Trump righteous?
Well, it's because he does things right. He says things that are right. Oh. It doesn't matter how you look at it.
Oh, right.
His heart is right. In the sight of God, this man's heart is right. And
okay,
God
that
wants
right
to bless a righteous man.
Okay.
Look at our country. That one guy, he's more from the financial thing. He's got a big mouth on how Donald Trump is going to make money. Let me tell you, if he could make money out of nothing, when he first started his businesses, he's going to do that with America.
Okay, Dougie, thank you very much for the call. We're taking a quick break. When we return, we'll continue this discussion and we'll be taking your calls.
Macro is lending a helping hand with big festive season savings that'll move you. Like the Totem 16-inch or 20-inch Mojo bikes for only $10.99. Save 200 Rand. Or save 200 Rand on the Bounce King 10-foot trampoline, now only $24.99. And zip away on a Zingo X100 electric scooter for $1,999. Save 300 Rand. Share in these and other big festive savings for home, for business, for life. Only at Macro. Big on life.
Welcome back. You are still watching Question Time. We're talking Donald Trump, and I'm just going to ask my colleagues to just give us some more of his tweets, particularly when he was talking about South Africa or Africa in general, because this is a man who's very vocal. Like Dougie said, he doesn't beat around the bush. He tells it as it is. There's at Real Donald Trump. Proudly as a major fan of Nelson Mandela and the people of South Africa, all of my statements are made with love. Protect his legacy now. Okay, that was fine. Oscar Pistorius only gets 5 years in prison for killing his girlfriend. Ridiculous decision. Judge couldn't even read her own writings. That's Donald Trump. What next did he say? I'm sure there's something else. Alrighty. Can you believe that corrupt and pathetic South Africa police force has yet to arrest the sign language guy? Such danger gift. 10 years. Well, yeah, and he says, I think this was around the period with which that Nelson Mandela passed on. I really like Nelson Mandela, but South Africa is a crime-ridden mess that is just waiting to explode. Not a good situation for the people. Wow, that's Trump. And the last ones, okay, we've spoken about that one. The last one, as I have long been saying, South Africa is a total whatever and very dangerous mess. Just watch the evening news when not talking weather. That's Donald Trump. Okay, Cunningham, you're on the line. Welcome.
I'm Poet Cunningham Ghana here.
Oh, thank you for calling.
I think you have political plumbers there who do not understand international politics.
Okay.
First and foremost, you are talking about Hillary Clinton, an illiterate war criminal who murdered Gaddafi and made a joke about it. Intervened in Libya, left it a mess together with a stupid man called Obama. Libya is a mess because of the two people. What Donald Trump is saying is that America should stop to be the international police of the world, should engage Russia in Syria. Hillary Clinton and the neocons in the U.S. wanted to cause a third world war, to engage a nuclear power called Russia into war over Syria, together with Ashton Carter. I don't know what you understand. He is the best choice in so far as Africa is concerned.
Okay.
This fellow Nkunzi asked where the money is going to come from. How much is the war in Afghanistan, Iraq has cost America? The man is saying America must withdraw bases from all over the world. Over 100 countries where it has military bases. That's where they're going to get the money to rebuild America.
Okay. Whoa, okay, we've lost Cunningham there. Cunningham Ngugana, a trade unionist of note. Well, he doesn't think that you are getting it right here.
Well, again, on Trump's foreign policy, I think the jury is out. We're going to watch it unfold. It's going to be entertaining. I think it's going to be dangerous at the same time. I mean, for example, if you consider, and I'm sure Cunningham does not, that the US has anchored the international system for the last 60 years, since the post-World War II period, basically. And essentially on two levels, on the trade side, but also on the foreign policy side, candidate Trump has been saying he's going to unravel all of that. In other words, he's going to withdraw America from the world. When you withdraw the major power from the world, what you create is a power vacuum. Now, who's going to step into that power vacuum in the Middle East, for instance, in Eastern Europe, in East Asia, which is becoming a very dangerous place, if the US is not there to play that role? Now, we may not like the way the US has played that role, but it has brought that kind of stability. And I think that's why Asian markets particularly reacted so negatively, because they saw Hillary Clinton as a continuation of that stability. Donald Trump, they see withdrawing from the region, and that's dangerous for them with the rise of China.
But should we be worried as Africa that here is this man who was saying all sorts of things?
Look, I mean, I'll just give an example. He spoke during his campaign trail about Nigerians and how he was going to bundle them up and send them back to Nigeria because, he just seems, he generalized as well, It's a generalistic statement to make that all Nigerians that are in America are out there to cause trouble, which I think is a statement that, when you get to that stage of the world, they say levels out there.
Yeah.
Donald now is at a level where he needs to start considering carefully what he's saying and how he says it, more importantly, and how it gets received by the people to whom he's directing it to. Now, all of a sudden, you're gonna be using such lavish language when you're talking to your international diplomatic colleagues, presidents, and people that are representing other countries. People who have migrated to America and are making a difference to America. Guys like Elon Musk, for example, who are making a big difference to America's economy, you know, and then you're saying, you know, you're going to ship out all the 11 million illegal immigrants out of America. How does it propose to handle all of those things, you know? I really think that for us as Africa, in my view, we stand a chance that all the negotiations, international trade negotiations that have been done with America will likely be reviewed in favor of America. You saw he's worried about the money that comes to Africa, which is a fair point that he makes, honestly speaking. Some of the cash doesn't really get to the bottom of where it's supposed to get. You know, he mentioned that $7 billion that's going to vanish due to corruption and all of that stuff. It's a fair point, but I think perhaps maybe his approach should be, yes, we'll continue to support Africa, but we'll continue to monitor whether or not that money gets to our intended projects, you know, and I really hope that he's going to be very careful and diplomatic with how he handles things going forward, really.
Are we going to see a reshuffle now of ambassadors all over the continent?
Well, I don't know about all over the continent, but in key countries, I think that's the case, probably here, for starters. Given the current ambassador's connections to President Obama, I think that's quite likely.
Okay.
The reality is, though, that in US foreign policy, Africa has always been at the bottom of the totem pole. And given President or candidate Trump's agenda on trade, on foreign policy, etc., in fact, I don't see us rising up at all. So we're going to be an afterthought for candidate Trump. He's going to be too busy fighting fires with China, Germany, and the rest of his allies, in my view.
And also, my biggest concern here, boys, how he deals with the religious issues, you know, Al-Qaeda and all of those other things. I am very concerned, extremely.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for having made it here into your studio. And that was question time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. From me and the crew, you have yourself a wonderful time. Have a hot.